Aloha and welcome to Farm Life Nation, a place for conversations about the problems we face and the solutions that exist today. Aloha and welcome to Farm Life Nation, episode number 6. I'm super excited to be here with you all today because we are going to talk about water. Because without water, there is no farming and there is no life on this planet. And I am super excited to have the amazing Amanda Bobbett in the house with us today. When it comes to water, this woman knows it all. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be partnering with her and for her company, The Best Hydrogen Water, to be a sponsor of this show. So we're going to talk about water today. So grab a glass of water and come on in. We're going to drop right into it. Well, aloha everyone and welcome. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Raven Ea and I have been in the health and wellness industry for a very long time. I've been an organic farmer and an herbologist, nutritionist, and a private chef. I've done it all when it comes to bringing whole food solutions to your home and to your door. And now today, we are going to talk about water. Water is the source of all life, and yet, unfortunately, the majority of people on our planet don't have access to pure, clean drinking water. So we are here to provide solutions for you and your family, and I have a very special guest today. Thank you for joining us, Amanda Bobbett. This woman is the expert in all things water and hydrogen, which is one of the most important molecules in the world, and yet nobody's talking about it. So we've brought Amanda in here today to talk about solutions because she is the world's leading expert when it comes to hydrogen water and what it can do for you and your life. So thank you so much, Amanda, for being here with us today. We're thrilled to dive in and dissect all the amazing things that you know to share with our audience. So welcome.
Well, thank you so much, and cheers to that. Let's share some information about water and how we can help people.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the problems first. I mean, there are people out there that are still drinking their tap water. And I live on the island of Kauai where all of our water comes from the mountain, but it still ends up in a giant tank and still gets treated with a ton of chlorine. And then it goes through old infrastructure piping before it even gets to my door. So what once may have been a pure source of water, I don't ever necessarily know if I'm going to drink it out of my tap. And that's because, first of all, don't drink chlorine. Like we all should know that chlorine bleach getting into your body is going to destroy your gut microbiome. And the gut is the home to all health and wellness when it comes to being our second brain, when it comes to our immune system, when it comes to our hormone function. So my problems are pretty small compared to the majority of the United States and many other places around the world. So tell us today, what do you see as being the number one problem when it comes to what comes out of the tap when you turn on the faucet?
It's interesting that you say that. I was just doing some research this morning, and there's some staggering numbers. There's 829,000 people every single year in the world who die from waterborne pathogen, waterborne illness. And so just because your water looks clean doesn't actually mean it's clean. And so what tends to happen is the cities put chemicals in your water to kill bacteria. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, there's 2 bacteria that are resistant to chlorine. That's Cryptosporidium and Giardia. Those guys have a protective shell around their body. And once they're inside your stomach acid, they open that shell up and they attach themselves to the lining arterial walls and they cause all kinds of havoc inside your system. And most people are not even aware of they have a waterborne pathogen. So a simple way is actually just loose stools. That's a symptom of having a waterborne pathogen, and also neck pain. And so there's a huge global problem with, just talking about bacteria in the water, let alone the arsenic issues. Most of us don't realize, but arsenic is a natural element that comes from the Earth's crust. So it's natural. It's almost in all waters. They say 90% of the waters, at least here in the US, have arsenic. On the EPA's website, the Environmental Protection Agency, on their website, who overviews all of our water, who looks at it, says they basically do not do a good job clearing out the arsenic. Therefore, they say out of 1 million people with cancer, 600 of those people are getting cancer because of arsenic. And it's a class A carcinogen, which means it causes cancer without a shadow of a doubt. And so if we're not aware and we're drinking all this water, it's building up in our system. And not only that, we're showering in water. Our skin is our largest organ, and it's going to absorb these toxic chemicals right through our skin. Then our body again has another stress it has to try to get rid of somehow.
That's a lot to take in, realizing that the very agencies that should be taking responsibility to be providing the service that most of us pay for. I mean, I'm assuming that you pay for your water. We have a water bill here. There's usually, you know, some form of someone making money somewhere along the way. So you would think that they would be taking the responsibility to make sure that we're getting the absolute best. And you've mentioned a couple of pieces as far as like waterborne pathogens, and then talking about arsenic. I mentioned chlorine. But in a lot of municipal water systems, there's a lot of recirculation of pharmaceutical drugs, of antidepressants, of birth control, of seizure medications. I mean, on and on and on. Like you name it. Most filtration systems are not built to remove not only waterborne pathogens, but pharmaceutical drugs and arsenic and any other contaminants that might be in your water. And so, unfortunately, even if you're buying bottled water to drink, if you're washing your hands, brushing your teeth, and taking showers without any form of filtration, you're still being susceptible to this unfortunate, you know, recirculation that's happening in our water systems.
Absolutely. And you know, all disease, doesn't matter what it is linked to one thing. And that's too much stress, too much oxidation from toxins, from free radicals. So in our tap water alone, there's over 60,000 different contaminants in our tap water. Like you mentioned, the birth control, you've got pharmaceuticals, you've got all those different things. And now those things are interacting with each other, and then we're drinking those, and we don't even know what the result is going to be long term when those are going in. So out of the 60,000 contaminants, the EPA is only looking at 91 of those contaminants. That's what they're actually checking for. So what we do in our local area here, and we help people in other areas as well in the US, is there is a separate website we can go to kind of look at your water report. And that's the Environmental Working Group. And so they're a group of individuals who are not affiliated with the government, and they take a different look at the water. They look at things like arsenic, they look at radiation and heavy metals and things in your water. And here in our local area, we found out that in Kennewick, just right down the road, we have 477 times over the exceeding limit for arsenic.
Wow.
Over the limit. It's 477 times over that limit. And just an hour to the east of that, it's over 1,000 times exceeding the limit. And we have customers that come down to our storefront who are getting the water who have stomach cancer, liver cancer, bladder cancer. We don't realize what all these things are coming from the pollution, from the toxins, from the free radicals. And our body has to deal with that stressor every day.
Yeah, free radicals and oxidative stress. And as we age, I was really talking to my son about this other day. As we start to age with oxidative stress, you start to see how the skin and the hair start to actually lose its luster, lose its color. We literally start to turn gray from oxidative stress. And so you can pretty much see that by the time you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s, God bless us if we get to live into our 90s plus, but it starts to add up really quickly. So we're really here to talk about solutions, and you have come up with an incredible solution to really target free radicals and oxidative stress. And I think this is something that most people don't really understand, is that when we think about water, we think about water as H2O, right? It's the one thing that we're always taught, water, H2O. And the H2, the molecular hydrogen, is really severely lacking in most water. And I've seen you do a ton of tests. If anybody wants to watch your YouTube channel, you know, you have amazing experiments that you do, and I love the sciencey part of it. So talk a little bit about H2 and how H2, molecular hydrogen, is actually able to kind of reverse the oxidative stress and the accumulation of free radicals.
Yes, so hydrogen, H2, or molecular hydrogen or diatomic hydrogen, it basically is an antioxidant to the body. And most people are going to say, well, doesn't all water have H2O in it? Yes, it does, but it's at such a small amount. It would take over 1 million gallons of water to get you the therapeutic dose, which is 0.5 parts per million. So normal tap water has 0.00002 parts per million. So you'd literally have to drink so much water in order to get that therapeutic benefit of hydrogen. So hydrogen is the smallest element. It is so tiny that it gets through everything. So if you were going to eat, let's say, for example, you wanted to protect yourself with antioxidants from all these toxins and free radicals, and you wanted to eat blueberries, you want to eat raspberries, you want to take vitamin C. Those different antioxidants, you have to consume so many of them, and you have to digest them. Therefore, they leave behind a free radical in the process of that. They're not tiny, so they can't go everywhere, and they're site specific. So why I enjoy hydrogen so much is every single person drinks water. Our body is almost all water. And so when you consume the hydrogen gas suspended into the water, it goes everywhere in your system. And it's so small, it can get right through the blood-brain barrier into the brain, helps the brain conduct electricity. It also does amazing things like you talked about your gut biome, your amazing beneficial bacteria. It actually helps the terrain of your gut, helps those bacteria flourish. It helps them grow and thrive. And so your immune system is going to be boosted. It also helps encourage a hormone that's in your gut that goes to your brain called ghrelin. And that hormone, once it's secreted, it helps your brain be hyperactive and alert. It stimulates brain activity. So for anyone that's worried about Alzheimer's and Asperger's, it's a protective for the brain. Now there's over 1,200 studies on hydrogen now. So without a shadow of a doubt, we know that it is a very, very powerful antioxidant, and it's simple to do.
Which is amazing, because how come it's taken us so long to get here? Like, shouldn't we all have been drinking hydrogen water since like the dawn of time? But apparently there's timing and everything, right? And I know that there's other companies out there that are doing their best to try to force alkalize water or to filter water, but creating hydrogen on demand is now something that we can offer anyone anywhere in the world the opportunity to purchase one of these hydrogen water machines. You can also get a pre-filter that takes out all the contaminants, and you can be leveraging the water source that you currently have, but actually molecularly taking it to a place where it's going to be beneficial to your body. And that's really why we've partnered with you, is because this is such an incredible solution to so many problems. And I think everyone deserves access to pure clean water and pure clean food and pure clean air. We'll figure that part out next, even though you do have air purification systems as well. So tell us a little bit about the whole home filtration system pack that you guys offer when it comes down to being able to not only take out all the contaminants from your water, but then go into hydrogen on demand, which is pretty incredible. We also can make ozone with this machine, which is just super next level. But then also you have air purification systems. So this whole home solution, tell us a little bit about what people can get when they're looking at really taking care of the whole house.
Absolutely. So you have to think about what you cannot live without. The first thing is air. You can't live with, I think 2 minutes now is you can't live without air. So you need to have good air. And then next comes water, and then comes food, which is you're amazing at with all your knowledge there. So let's start with the water, and we'll talk about the air in here in just a minute. But what we have is a whole house water filter. So myself included, many years ago, I thought having a water softener was filtering the water. And that does not filter the water. It's just softening the water, so you don't have hard calcium deposits all over your home. And so we have that option, but our system in general also helps to soften the water without adding anything to it. So you don't need any salt to help that process. So what we do is we either in your garage or in your laundry room, wherever your main water supply line comes in, that is where our filter can go. And it sits about 4 feet tall. It has 5 different media sources in it. So as the water comes in, it basically goes through the unit, and then it goes through your whole entire home. And what's so beneficial is that it's getting out all these contaminants like the arsenic, the pharmaceuticals, the heavy metals, the radiation, all these like glyphosate, all these chemicals, but yet it's cleaning itself. So talk about going organic and talk about going eco-friendly, because you don't have to be replacing these filters and buying a whole new canister. You basically just, it fluffs itself every 5 days. So it regenerates itself. And it does that for 10 to 15 years with no maintenance. And then after the 10 years, people are like, well, what happens after that? Well, after that, we just replace the media. You put new media in, it's a couple $100 and you're good again for another 10 to 15 years. So we actually carry a warranty on our media for 10 years. So it's good for at least 10 years, depending on your household, obviously, but 10 years is what we typically see out of it.
That's absolutely incredible. And when it comes to growing food, like I have been doing for a very, very long time, I have a huge garden. And every time I go out to water my garden, I always just have this like guilty feeling because I know that I'm literally spraying them with chlorine. And so I started thinking about this the other day around, oh my God, okay, I could literally be putting hydrogen water into my fertilizer can when I'm going out to feed my vegetable garden. And I'm going to document this whole thing because I have a feeling we're going to see exponential growth. Like what would normally take, 4 to 5 days, I think could start to happen overnight because hydrogen's so small. Not only is it like the perfect antioxidant for the human body, but why would it not be the perfect antioxidant for plants and for animals and even for my goldfish? I was thinking about my goldfish. I'm like, I think they're really going to like getting a big, heavy dose of hydrogen every now and then. And starting to see how you can integrate these things into healing, not only for yourself, but for all those around you. It just made so much sense to me when you shared how these systems all work together. And another thing that I'm really excited about, which kind of just comes off of the whole home filter, is moving into the ozone for laundry. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So we actually have a unit that is, oh, it's not too big, it's about that size, and it goes right behind your laundry dispenser, and it actually takes cold water and it ozones it, which ozone or O3 kills everything. It kills bacteria, I mean, it's everything. So now all your clothes, you get rid of all your laundry soap, all that sodium lithyl sulfate, that's very toxic. You think you're washing it off, but it takes 3 or 4 loads without any soap just to wash off all the soap. And then you don't have that soapy residue to be redeposited on your clothes. Your clothes are going to last longer. They're brighter. They smell good. You don't need to have those little pads you put in there to fluff them up. It's just incredible. So we can go green in that aspect as well. So people with any kind of skin issues, eczema, psoriasis, could be being caused because your contaminated chlorinated water you're showering in, but also
Right.
what soap are you using for your laundry?
Yeah, absolutely. And because we're covered in whatever we're washing our stuff in all day long, and then especially if we're sweating, I mean, our body is breathing, and so it's reabsorbing in those toxins, especially as they're off gassing. And this comes down to like everything that you use in your home, right? Whether you're using carpet cleaner or using, window cleaner or whatever you're using to scrub your toilets. And you have solutions for that too. Can you talk a little bit about this amazing revolutionary spray bottle?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I happen to have one right here. Is our disinfecting spray. So what we love about this, it makes 2 waters. It makes hypochlorous acid and hypochlorite. So hypochlorous acid, your body natural makes. When you get a wound, your body uses hypochlorous acid to help heal it up. So it kills 99.9% of bacteria and germs. So MRSA, staph, gangrene, AIDS virus, E. coli, it kills everything. And you can use it safely. If you put it on your skin, if you drink it, it's not going to harm you. But what it does is it ages, it oxidizes, it kills. So if you had pink eye, sinus infection, sore throat, you can use it as deodorant, foot fungus, acne, athlete's foot. You can use it anything on your skin. And then to make hypochlorite, we just take a little bit of salt, put the salt in there, and salt conducts electricity. And now you have something that is 80 times stronger than bleach. And it's used for surfaces because it kills on contact, kills much faster. And so this is going to be used countertops, toilets, sinks, mirrors, anywhere you want to sanitize. There are 78 studies with the EPA proving that hypochlorite kills SARS, MARS, COVID-19, kills all of that. So this little bottle is very affordable. You can just recharge it, the water at any time, and you can make your own household cleaner that's safe. You don't have to worry about it contaminating or harming anything.
Absolutely incredible. I can't wait to share that with a lot of my first responders and firemen because there are so many times when injuries happen. And the first thing you need to do with any kind of injury, especially if there's an open gaping wound or a burn, is you need to disinfect it. That's the first thing you need to do in order to keep the bacteria from getting embedded. And then, of course, it festering and turning into something worse. So I really see this as being a really powerful new medical solution in a lot of ways, because all you have to do is refill it with water and press that magic little button, and all of a sudden you have the most powerful disinfectant on the planet. So kudos to you, Amanda, for inventing these amazing systems. We have an incredible whole home system and a bundle pack that people can check out, that they can get access to creating hydrogen in the home, to doing whole home filtration, to being able to disinfect their home, and also doing ozone into your laundry. There's so many incredible solutions. I'm absolutely thrilled to share this with our audience and with the people that have been following what we're up to, because we are all about solutions. We know that there's a ton of problems. We know that people are going to face it every single day. But I'm someone who believes that there is a solution to every single problem. And it just comes down to people like Amanda standing up for what's right and raising her voice and raising her flag and saying, hey, you guys, like, we don't have to be subjugated to the contamination that's come before us. And, you know, huge congratulations to you for seeing a problem and coming up with a solution. It's the #1 rule to entrepreneurship. So I absolutely applaud you for doing that. So we know that tap water is absolutely disgusting, really, for most people, and that we should do everything that we can to avoid consuming it or getting it on our skin. But what about bottled water? I know for myself personally, I'm spoiled. I have access to some incredible bottled water, and it's expensive, and it adds up really fast, because if I'm looking at just a gallon for me and a gallon for my son and a gallon for Rob, that's 3 gallons a day. And the cost of that can be anywhere from, you know, $15 to $30 to $40, depending on the quality of water you're consuming. Of course, people can go and get their reverse osmosis, but for me, it's just wet. There's like nothing in it. It's just wetness. It's not hydration. So I tend to spend money on high quality spring water when I'm out and about, when I'm traveling. But when I'm home, it seems to me like there's just such a better solution to just filter the water we already have, and then to, you know, hydrogenate it so that it's actually benefiting my body. So can you talk a little bit about bottled water? Because obviously there's a huge anti-plastic movement that's happening across the planet, which is great. We need that to happen, but most people don't have access to water unless it comes in plastic. So can you talk a little bit about the dangers of consuming plastic bottled water?
Yes, absolutely. So the EPA is who regulates our tap water, and they look for 91 contaminants. Well, the FDA is who regulates our bottled water. And there is less things they're checking for. So there's less regulations on bottled water there is on tap water. And so now you can think, okay, well, where is the water coming from that goes in the bottle? Well, if it's coming from a spring, they're not just going to go right to the spring and put it in a bottle. They have to sanitize it first. And what are they using to sanitize it with? Is chlorine. So the same thing, it's killing, and then they're filtering it back out. So it's all reverse osmosis water pretty much going into the bottle by the time it's sourced from a spring, but then it goes somewhere, and then it's in the bottle. And then that water is a solvent and scavenger. You don't think about it, but that water is sitting in there. It might be sitting in there for a couple months, a couple years. Imagine if you get your water from Fiji. It's coming over on a boat. It's getting warm. So when that happens, you are actually drinking petrochemicals, plastic contaminants, and xenoestrogen. So 75% of men and women that have breast cancer have too much estrogen. It's a growth hormone. So as that water sits in there, it's leaching these components into itself, and then you're drinking that plastic, which goes right to the receptor sites in the cancer cells and tells those cells to multiply and divide at a faster rate. Now you have proliferating of cancer cells fed by estrogen, and you're not even aware of it. Worse than that, I believe, is that we might recycle. Well, recycling is part of the problem, at least here in the US. In the US, in 2018, China actually used to buy our recycled plastic. 2018, they stopped buying our plastic. And so now it's ending up in landfills because it's cheaper to manufacture new plastic than it is to recycle the old plastic. And now they say by year 2050, there'll be more plastic than fish in our oceans. And it's becoming part of the food chain. The fish are now eating the plastic, and then we are eating the fish. And so we're going to be living on a plastic planet if we don't stop something. And like you said, it is expensive. The average person spends $5 a day to drink bottled water, $150 a month. Over a year, they spend almost $2,000 for one person to drink bottled water. You ask the question, how long are we going to drink water? The rest of our life. So if you just average 30 years for one person, you're looking over $50,000 to drink bottled water. That is a huge markup. Bottled water is a $32 billion industry. There are certain bottles of water like Dasani that's been banned in Europe because in 2007, they were caught putting tap water in their bottles and repackaging it back to the public and selling it. And so I believe that bottled water is probably one of the biggest scams out there. It's a bunch of marketing hype. So why not get rid of the plastic, get yourself a whole house water filter, or even just our home unit with the pre-filter. If you can't get the whole entire home filter, maybe you're in an apartment somewhere. And that way you turn the tap on and you make yourself fresh, clean, safe water every single time for your friends, for your family, for your pets. And that way we can really eliminate the need for plastic.
Wow. I mean, there's just no real way around getting access to pure clean water, because if there's arsenic and chlorine in our tap, and then there's xenoestrogen producing contaminants in the plastic, even if you're buying glass, you are still spending a ton of money. So these solutions that you're providing with the best hydrogen water are really incredibly economical. And that's really why we made the decision to invest into our home, because we were already spending the money. So we were like, that's just going to keep happening forever unless we divest. And even though we have a spring where we can go and fill up our water at the spring, the infrastructure that's tapped into the spring is actually an old rusty pipe. And how long do you want to consume spring water out of an old rusty pipe? Well, for me, I was starting to actually feel really tired. I was feeling really tired. I wasn't feeling hydrated. And I was just looking at the water going, okay, the Berkey filter I've been using isn't enough. Something else is going on in here. And I immediately went to the water. And even for myself, with, the health concerns that I've had over the last decade, I've been consuming the highest quality nutrition on the planet. And yet still, I feel like I'm at like 78%. And when you and I first talked about hydrogen, it just clicked like a light bulb. I was like, this is the missing link. Because even if you're consuming the highest quality foods on the planet, it still has to go through your whole digestive system. It's still limited to only what your body can absorb. But hydrogen is going to be able to get in there and is going to be able to remove any of those free radicals and oxidative stress and blockages, because it permeates every single tissue in the human body. And so I'm thrilled for my own personal experience more than anything, but I'm also on a mission to make sure that people have access to take their health back into their own hands. We know that we're being infiltrated in our food supply. There's not much that we can do about what's happening in the air or what's happening in our municipal water systems, but we can put these little pieces in place that can at least help us to live a longer, healthier life, because nobody wants to have any kind of diagnosis or end up in a nursing home because they have some form of Alzheimer's or dementia and can no longer recognize their family. None of us want that. But if we continue to go down the road of consuming contaminants, that is inevitable, because toxins are accumulative. And so I really think that hydrogen water is the solution to really take our bodies to the next level so that we can do the good work that we're meant to do while we're here on Earth. So I am so excited to have this partnership with you, Amanda, and with your brand new company. You've been in the water industry for over 12 years, and for you to just step out and pave this new way with your own company is very, very brave and very courageous. And I just really want to applaud you for seeing the future. And I'm so glad that we found each other and that I can help share your message with the world.
Absolutely. It's my honor, my privilege to do that. And, we'll talk a little bit about the last 12 years because I represented alkaline water. There's probably people out there like, oh, I drink alkaline water. Well, back in 2009, we all thought it was the alkalinity of the water that was creating the benefits. And so word kind of travels a little bit slower sometimes, and at least in the US with all these hydrogen studies that have now come to the surface. But we didn't know. We all thought it was alkalinity. So we kept promoting alkaline water, alkaline water, alkaline water. And then we started figuring out it's not the alkalinity of the water. It's actually the hydrogen. And so there's literally no studies on alkaline water. And there's alkaline bottled water people will invest in or purchase. If you look on the back of alkaline bottled water, the first ingredient is sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda. And so they're adding baking soda to filter purified water and making alkaline water. And it's not even a benefit to you at all. And so having one of these units, we took the alkaline out because it's a weak buffer. When you put in your body, your stomach acid is changing it back to neutral anyways. So we promote hydrogen only because that is where all the research is done at. And that way you're not, giving your body something it can't use. You're not creating any imbalances or shifts anywhere in your body, and your body can truly absorb it in that form a lot better.
I'm so glad you brought this up because for me, I know the company you're talking about. And for me, I always had an adversity to forced alkalinity because my understanding was what's the filtration really on this thing, but forcing alkalinity, forcing water to become a certain pH, and then over time and time again, forcing that into your gut. If your gut is not functioning properly, then it's not going to produce the acids that you need and are required to digest the food that you're consuming. So I never resonated with forced alkaline water. Now, naturally occurring alkalinity in mountain fresh spring water, that to me is a different story versus using a machine to force your tap water into alkalinity, but not producing hydrogen, or if it is, it's nil, and not even focusing on the filtration. So if you're in Los Angeles and you're force alkalizing your water and you're consuming it, you could be potentially harming your health, even though you're being told that alkalinity is what you need. And I completely disagree with that in every way, shape, and form. So I love that this is more focused on hydrogen, because hydrogen, to me, this is the missing link. This is like the God molecule. There's something really divine and special about making hydrogen versus forcing water to be alkaline. And water wants to work with us. There have been a ton of studies on frequencies and on talking to your water. And, Dr. Emoto's done a whole bunch of stuff around this and really looking at water under a microscope. And as the frequency changes, you see it literally become beautiful. There's an organization that happens. There's a fractalization that looks like natural harmony, kind of like how snowflakes look, right? And I think that is the magical piece here. And hydrogen, I mean, we're talking about the sun, we're talking about the source of all life, we're talking about how the first creepy crawlies got out of the streams and the oceans and became humans somehow magically someday. We will talk about that another time. But I really love that you mentioned the comparison factor, because people have already been asking me about that. And I really don't want to focus so much on why something else doesn't work, but I think it's important for people to know that this is why you've gone in the direction that you have with these hydrogen producing units. So thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, that, and the people out there that have purchased, alkaline water machines in the past, it's a step in the right direction. But once you know what you know, it's hard to want to promote something that if they're not using good quality water going into that unit, that anything that you ionize, you put through that process that goes through those alkaline water machines, makes anything in there more bioavailable. So if there's arsenic, pharmaceuticals, and the filter that comes with the standard machines are not going to get that out. Even chlorine gets traces of it out. So now you're getting more arsenic, more pharmaceuticals, because it has a charge, and so your body's going to absorb it more. And then there's so much maintenance and cleaning on the machines. That's another reason to, think about this product versus anything else out there, is there's virtually no maintenance, especially with the whole house filter. If you have the whole house filter and you have our unit, there's no cleaning involved. And so you don't have to worry about, all the calcium building up in the electrodes or any of that as well.
And for people who can't do the whole home filtration because they're, living on the road or they live in an apartment, tell me a little bit more about the pre-filter. So there's a pre-filter that you can hook up where your cold comes into it and you put it underneath your sink. And then you can put the hydrogen unit either on your counter, or you can wall mount it or go under your sink, depending on where you want to have that. Tell me a little bit more about the pre-filter.
Yeah, so our machines, we will not sell them without having a pre-filter. So that comes with it. Perfect. And what we love about our filter is we can customize it. So depending on where our clients are out in the world, if they have more arsenic, we can put different medias in there to accommodate them. But they're organic. They can go back into the environment. So they're eco-friendly. So after a year, 6 months to a year, The canisters we have, you just basically take out the media, dump them out, and put new media in a bulk form. And it's very cost effective too. You're looking at $50 to $60 a year to change your filter, as opposed to some filters out there, $200 or more for having a filter. So the whole house filter obviously lasts 10 to 15 years, but with our counter unit, you do have to have a pre-filter that comes with it, and that's going to need to be changed out every 6 months to 1 year.
Wow, amazing. So all the solutions are here. We need to look no further. So Amanda, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today. But I want to know about what's coming next for you, because you've already done so many amazing things just in the last 6 months. What are you really looking forward to most about the future?
There are so many great things happening right now, as we just launched our first affiliate program about 3 weeks ago. We will be launching another program here coming soon for the next affiliates coming through. And our goal is to provide 100 locations. We have 2 now, but we want storefronts where people can go and get access to this water. We do a water trial for free. People can come in for 30 days to get access to the water. We have a membership program. And that way we can get people to invest in their own units, because we do have financing available that we can do for them. And then get rid of bottled water. On top of that, not only can we drink hydrogen water, we have eye goggles that go on your eyes. So any kind of eye issues that people are having, pink eye, degenerative macular disease issues, glaucoma, we've got the solution for that as well. We also have inhalation machines. You can actually breathe the hydrogen gas. So for Alzheimer's, Asperger's, ADHD, bipolar, any kind of brain issues, we have that covered too. So there's 3 different ways you can consume the hydrogen. And at our center here locally, we have all 3 therapies. We even have a spa you can sit in, and infuses the hydrogen right into your body that way.
That's so exciting. I love it. I mean, as soon as you mentioned the inhalation unit and the eye goggles, I just like lit up. I was like, I want to do that every single day. There's a massive therapeutic dose that comes from that is going to help so many issues that people are struggling with. And I'm thrilled to be a part of this new message, because like the studies are there. You mentioned hydrogenstudies.com. People can go there and read all day long. Every single disease known to man has had hydrogen studied in correlation with it. And it's like green light go across the board. You can't consume too much of it. Yes, there are therapeutic protocols that are out there that you can follow, but it is 100% the most beneficial molecule that you can consume. So I'm thrilled to be able to offer these units to everyone as well. And then we didn't even talk about the freestanding unit. I know that that's a whole nother realm, and we really want to help people get access to these freestanding hydrogen units. If you have like a yoga studio or a gym or a chiropractic office, somewhere where people are coming in for whatever their therapies are, usually you go over to like the cooler with the blue jug of, reverse osmosis filtered water, and you're like, glug, 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 glug. But what? Like it's just wet, So to be able to have hydrogen on demand, these new machines that you're coming out with not only have hot and cold, but they're soon going to be able to produce ice. Is that correct?
Yes. And so we've been in the manufacturing process, kind of R&D area here for the past couple of months, but we have our first protocol out. It's in my house here, and we absolutely love it. It makes hot hydrogen water and cold hydrogen water. So it's a water cooler. So the next time you go to your physical therapist or your doctor, you walk in there, instead of buying the 5-gallon containers, putting it on there and having to do that and having a service come, this has a filter in it. And we just hook into a water line, goes right to the machine, and then it's filtering the water as it comes out, and then you can have access to that. It's all US made as well.
That's incredible. We love supporting US made, obviously. Bring it home is really super important to us and everything that we represent. So going back to air, we know that we have this incredible air purification system that comes with our whole home system bundle pack. Can you talk a little bit about this air unit?
Absolutely. So you think about our environment that we're living in. We spend the majority of our time here in our home. And because it's not circulating very often, you're not opening the doors every day and the windows and letting things in and out, we have a lot of contaminants that are in our air. And then we're walking around breathing all those airs with allergens in there. There's dust mites, there's mold spores, and our lungs are breathing it all in. It's another form of toxicity coming in. So we have a wonderful air purification system that is HIPAA certified. It's in a lot of the high-end hotels. It actually has several different layers of filtration. It's 360 degrees, and we have different sizes depending on the homes. So in my home here, I have one that's, this area in here is 1,500 square feet. So it's able to do all of that area. And also has a layer in there that puts electricity. So any bugs or bacterias, it's killing. So we can get the particulars in the air to 0. We actually have a meter. We also do air duct cleaning here locally. We can go out to people's homes and show them the air quality. And so once they see the air quality and how toxic that they're breathing all those toxins every day, they absolutely want their air ducts cleaned, and they want to have one of our air purification systems.
Yeah, especially here in Hawaii. I mean, I know in the Pacific Northwest, there's a certain time of year, but here in Hawaii, mold. Mold everywhere. It's my nemesis. We literally have to spray and wipe and clean every square inch of the interior of our home twice a year because of mold. And that's just because we live in the tropics. I mean, like, the air is alive. It's coming in the windows, it's in the carpets, it's literally everywhere. So I think this purification system is really going to help a lot of people, because mold toxicity is more prevalent than most people know. I've had so many clients that have reached out to me that have had severe mold issues, and their health just tanked afterwards. And it's really difficult to make a recovery, to the point where a lot of them will end up moving to the high desert so that they can take the time and give their lungs the break and really work on recouping their health. So instead of getting to that point, we can definitely solve a lot of these problems. We can use the disinfectant spray bottle to clean instead of chemicals. And now we have the air purification system that you can have in your home as well. So kudos, Amanda and Matt, for coming up with all these incredible solutions. I have a feeling that this is just the beginning of what's going to come, because you definitely, like me, are always keeping your antennae out looking for new solutions. So thank you for creating a hub spot for where people can come for that next level of taking their health back into their own hands. I really do strongly appreciate that. Yeah, there's some major water issues happening over on Oahu. There's been some massive contamination that's been happening from the US military, and the water drinking systems are basically completely nil and shut down because of contamination through the groundwater. And that's just what we know of in Hawaii in that particular unit, and let alone the amount of genetically modified crops and glyphosate and restricted use pesticides that have been used. Even on my old farm, there was DDT in the soil. And that was from 20, 30 plus years ago from the sugarcane and pineapple industry. So these contaminants that were once used to produce these crops, sugar, papaya, pineapple, they're all mostly gone. But what they used on these crops is still in the soil, and that's going to get into our groundwater. That's eventually going to circulate up. Obviously, we know how water condensation is made, and then it ends up in our oceans. And that is a huge issue here in Hawaii. People really have seen massive destruction of our reefs. And I do believe that all of these contaminants are massive contributors to the destruction of our ecosystem. So it's really our responsibility to do everything that we can to clean up the mess, unfortunately. I don't think the mess is going anywhere, but I do think that over time, as people get educated, that they can make better decisions and they can do what they can, right? It's like, do what you can for yourself first, and then take care of your family, take care of your home, take care of your community, take care of your state, and then your country, and then the world, right? But it's all got to start at home. So I love that hydrogen is so in alignment with the gut microbiome, because everything starts there. The gut microbiome is the root of all either health or disease. And we're not going to be able to get rid of a lot of these contaminants ourselves, but we can vote with our dollars. We can decide what we're willing to spend money on, and that will eventually change industries that are going to go out of style, just like sugarcane and pineapple and papaya did. I think that factory farming and this large scale agriculture of genetically modified crops like corn and soy and wheat and cotton, I think we're going to eventually move away from this. And it's these small communities that come together, that educate each other and make the decisions to really take their health back that is making the greatest change.
Thank you so much, Raven. And I'm very grateful. And what you said there about you vote with your dollars is so true. You know, if you're going to be buying bottled water, you're basically just saying, hey, please bring more contaminants in. Please put more plastic bottles on the shelf. And this way, you put your health in your own hands. And what I've noticed from many years of doing this is people wait until their pain is great enough to change. So it's the moment they get diabetes, it's the moment they get cancer that they're like, you know what, Amanda, I'm ready now. I'm ready to take action with my health. Don't wait. It's all about preventative care. You know, your health is your wealth. And if you can spend money on yourself and having one of these units as opposed to giving it out to somebody else when we're polluting the environment, then that's what we deserve to be doing. So I encourage everybody to take action with this movement and this global opportunity to help people out there. It starts with us and we share the message. So thank you so much for having me again, Raven. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, I've always said it, Amanda. I say, don't wait for the diagnosis, because if you're consuming toxins, it's going to come eventually. And our country in particular is very focused on sick care. This is not necessarily about health care. And we have to be educated in order to move into health care, because we have all the solutions, but most people don't know what they don't know. They don't know that their water isn't safe. They don't know that their food is contaminated with carcinogens. They don't know. And you and I both have really been on a mission to help educate people, because we have not only been through our own health issues, but we really see how many people are suffering. And it's really unfortunate how many people I talk to, I'm sure you do as well, they're suffering on some realm, whether it's with their sleep or their digestion or their weight or their inflammation, all the way down to their finances. Most people are suffering on some scale, but they don't necessarily know what to do to change it. And if you want to change your life, the first thing you've got to do is change your water. And then you've got to change your diet. And then you got to exercise every day. And then you've got to like put on your business clothes and go to work, because the COVID days are over. I'm so excited about what's coming next and really regaining our freedom, and freedom starts at home. So thank you everybody for tuning in. I'm really excited about what comes next. So if you want to partner with us at the Best Hydrogen Water, please reach out to me, click the link below or shoot us over an email, and we will get on a call and figure out how we can best support you, because health is wealth, and without one or the other, we're not going to be thriving on this planet. And each and every single one of us deserves to thrive, not just survive. So thanks everybody. Have an awesome day, and we'll talk again soon. If you too would like to be on the show or would like to become a sponsor of Farm Life Nation, please reach out to us. We'd love to hear what you're growing up to. Why water? Well, because all life begins at the source. But what do we really know about water? We know water as H2O, yet most water available is seriously lacking in the H2. Or molecular hydrogen is the smallest known molecule in the universe. And because molecular hydrogen is selective, it can target free radicals and oxidative stress across all parts of the human body, making it the most powerful antioxidant known to exist. I'd like to introduce you to the Best Hydrogen Water, now available for countertop hydrogen and ozone on demand, and the world's first freestanding hydrogen water coolers, serving cold, hot, and coming soon, hydrogen ice cubes. If you are concerned about having pure, clean water, then look no further. We have all the solutions. From whole home filtration to under-the-counter pre-filters, we have all your water needs covered. At One Water Solution, we are here to help you and your family ensure the fundamental human need for hydration. Check us out at onewatersolution.co and sign up for a free consultation today.